In our little town, so serene, where the grass is green, the air so clean, we gather round the table every night, joyful days, oh, was I yet, with values passed, with generations past, living life with love that surely lasts. As the city lights look bright, we hold to our roots tight, in our hearts the same old fires, guided by the good old days. Sharing moments with friends always divine, working hard for what we seek, respecting each word we speak, holding dear to our family ties underneath these nostalgic skies. As the city lights so bright, got too tight, in our hearts the same old fire. Yeah, oh yeah. We sway with every change of time, but in our hearts old vows and soul that may be in our heart, getting like a thought ain't not in this fast-paced world we can fight. Traditions keep our hearts going wild, but those we find in our hearts simple ways, we got it by the good old days.
We stand firm in our belief.
Hold tight.
Through the times clearer we can see, crazy world spinning round.
Stay grounded.
In our hearts simple truths agree, whisper of freedom and liberty
Rings true.
Our foundation strong and deep, holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In the story we've built for trust and
Never doubt.
time flies but we won't bend. Communists talk loud and fast.
Stay solid.
Our quiet strength is our reply. So salute to change but pause.
Reflect.
In unity our dearest friend, holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow. In shadows we find our light, through chaos we stay upright.
Stay.
With courage, faith on our side,
Forever.
standing firm our guide, holding on to what we know, while the rest of the world lets go. Steady paths we choose to follow, while the winds of change blow.
In the heart of the jungle there's a whisper. John Birch, a soldier, takes the lead. With a spirit so brave he conquers darkness. On his mission hear the call, take heed. Through the shadows red wild winds blow. He's seeking the truth where few dare to go. John in the heart of the wild. John on a journey so styled. John in the heart of the wild. He carries the flame, a guiding light for every soul that's searching for peace in his heart. May the sorrow cease. John in the heart of the wild, John on a journey so styled, John in the heart of the wild.
This is what we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right, don't let the world make your will. Freedom and balance, it's here to stay. So let's embrace this life our way. Tradition calls, if you don't stand firmly, hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection. So share a smile today in this community that we build. With love and respect, that's how our hearts get filled. We carry forward, we know our truth. In this great land, it's our time to move. If you want to stand firm in your lane, in new direction, hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection. Let's hold on to our dreams and cherish every moment. With values exactly us in them, we find our hope. Tradition calls. If you won't stand firm in your lane, you lose your direction. Hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection.
Times are changing, feel the buzzing, staying true when they're fussing. Keep the flag a-flying through stormy nights. With the star-spangled banner, I stand tall with manners. Cross my heart with hope in sight. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. Stick to values in the trends. Families gather, let's defend. Hold the line, keep the bond alive. Truth in our vision, in God we make decisions. For our dream, true, thrive and strive. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. We'll keep fighting for what's right, standing strong in the night. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and bravery, with liberty.
stay. So let's embrace this life our way. Tradition calls. If you don't stand firmly, hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection. So share a smile today in this community that we build. With love and respect, that's how our hearts get filled. We carry forward, we know our truth. In this great land, it's our time to move. If you want to stand firm in your lane, in new direction, hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection. Dreams and cherish every moment with values intact between us and them. We find our hope. Tradition calls. If you don't stand firm in your lane, you lose your direction. Hold it tight. If you let go of the reins, you'll miss your connection.
Times are changing, feel the buzzing, staying true when they're fussing. Keep the flag a-flying through stormy nights. With the star-spangled banner, I stand tall with manners. Cross my heart with hope in sight. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. Stick to values in the trends. Families gather, let's defend. Hold the line, keep the bond alive. Truth in our vision, in God we make decisions. For our dream, true, thrive and strive. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. We'll keep fighting for what's right, standing strong in the night. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and bravery, with liberty.
Welcome to today's episode of Culture-Rama. Thank you everyone that has joined me here today. I know I was out for a little bit. Returned and we are back to regularly scheduled programming here on Culture-Rama every Tuesday and Thursday, and the gaming streams on Saturday. Thank you everyone that has joined us. We already have a pretty good viewership on Rumble and on Twitter, so please, if you guys can, let's raise that number, share and like the stream as best you can. As usual with many a tradition of the stream, let me know if my audio levels are either too high or too low. It seems like every time I travel and come back to this show, my audio levels get screwed up, so I want to make sure that's all out of the way. But I want to say hello to all my usual fans that I see in the chat already. It's so good to see you. I see Barty Styles in the chat. I see Pork Chop 159. Welcome back, Pork Chop. Quest Fanning. as well. Very good to see you all. And Cecilia H, wonderful. Thank you so much, Cecilia, for the congrats. AP for Liberty says, welcome back. Thank you so much, AP for Liberty. It's so good to be back, you guys. I missed doing Cold Trauma this last week. I think I missed 3 shows, 4 shows. So thankfully, we'll get those numbers back up as we proceed forward. But I don't want to take up too much time. I know I've already a little late to the stream, so I wanted to start off strong. We have a lot to talk about as usual with these streams, everyone. And my gosh, South Africa, that seems to have been the main topic of discussion this last 24 hours, 48 hours now. So we're going to be talking about that. Leftists seemingly having a meltdown. Okay, I know you guys have heard it, having a meltdown over refugees. It seems as though leftists are not the bleeding heart liberals that we all thought they were. Or are they only bleeding heart for a certain type of refugee for a certain skin color? Is that true? We will talk about that. We also have a lot more in the news. Online right-wing spaces also undergoing a lot of massive changes right now, and is specifically having to do with one of its main figureheads, James Lindsey, bringing up woke right rhetoric. So we're going to be talking about that and more having to do with online right-wing spaces, because as we have come to find out on this show, there's a lot of on-the-ground work that's constantly done, but there's a lot of online work, and yours truly is a part of that participates or actually contributes to the zeitgeist. And we're all contributing to it, whether it's in person or online. So we're going to be talking about that and James Lindsey and more as we proceed with the show. Barney Styles is saying the volume isn't bad, but the gain seems low. Well, thank you for letting me know, Barney. I'm going to play around with that and see what I can do with fixing my audio levels here. But it seems to be running fine on the OBS system. So hopefully I'll play around and see what I can do with that. But thank you for letting me know. So anyways, but on top of all of that, I want to open up with actually a pretty fun story it's fun for us at least, having to do with the DNC. For those that are aware, David Hogg was elected to be the vice chair of the DNC just a few months ago, and it seems like that isn't the case anymore. Why exactly is it happening? I'm going to talk about that with you here in a second. But before I do, I want to say, everyone, if you can, please, when you have time, visit the ap4libertyshop.com. Once again, that is ap4libertyshop.com to get yourself a whole host of cold trauma products. I got my Leo pillow come in last week, and I didn't have a chance to show it off on stream. So I want to show you guys off on stream right here today. This is the Leo the Beast pillow. Beautiful quality, everyone. Very, very soft. And so if you want a dysgenic creature for yourself, you get yourself a Leo the Beast pillow on the Cold Trauma collection on the ap4libertyshop.com. We also have other pillows like this Cold Trauma logo pillow. And if you are an avid coffee drinker, please, please, please consider getting yourself a good old mug of Atomic Blonde coffee. Okay, it keeps me charged up, and I assure you it will keep you charged up as well. And you can also get it in your own Cold Trauma mug. So all things to consider. Entropy Nomad, welcome to the stream. He also wrote, they come bigger, Yapachito sized. Yes, this is a small. Actually, I got a smaller size. I didn't want a bigger one, but they can come. These Leo the Beast pillows can come much larger, everyone. Okay. And so if you want yourself a dysgenic circus freak like the one I own, consider going to the shop today. Okay. Anyway, we already have $5 from Cecilia H. Thank you so much, Cecilia. You wrote, starting the rants for the night, helping a fellow Liberty woman out. Thank you so much, Cecilia. I really appreciate that. And thank you for your congrats as well. Okay, David Hogg, I see people are talking about him. So let's break this down, okay? The DNC is dissolving. Exactly how is that happening? Well, let me show you what's going on. And you guys have probably seen this already, but... Okay, let me turn on the right screen here. DNC is ousting the hog, everyone. I don't have a pig sound effect, but here we go. Just pretend I have a pig squealing. Citing gender and diversity rules. This move will send a clear message to all white males everywhere that wants to get involved or participate within left-wing politics or Democratic politics. This is a message, everyone. The Democrat Party doesn't want you, okay? If you're a straight and young white male, the DNC doesn't want you. They'll lie to your face and they'll say they want you, but they don't. No matter how hard you simp for them. So here is a picture of it's a screenshot of the article. The DNC panel finds Hogg and another official weren't properly elected to leadership. The challenge to the election was filed more than 2 months ago before Hogg's announcement about primary challenges by Kaylin Free, an Oklahoma activist who unsuccessfully sought one of the vice chair slots. She argued the DNC broke its rules on gender diversity in party officer elections, invalidating the election of Hogg. So here's another one. Breaking. DNC Vice Chair David Hogg has been ousted from his position after a late night vote. Okay, they did it late into the night here, despite considerable last-minute lobbying from Tim Walz and James Carville. Hogg now holds a record as the shortest 10-year vice chair for the DNC, everybody. Gotta give it up for David. The shortest tenure. That's a feat, I must say. So congrats to him, I guess, for breaking some kind of record. Very sad situation all around. That's got to be a sound clip. Yeah, Mr. Pig, I have to get a squealing pig sound effect on my stream. That would be very pertinent right now. It's unfortunate I don't have that. Here's a quick article detailing this, everyone. So before I get into it, I do want to say my opinion, and I may be just conspiracy posting here, but my opinion on this whole matter is that I think that the DNC actually did not want him to be vice chair. I really think that they just did it for appearances. Also, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Everyone's saying that they're citing this gender rule. Where is it? The first tweet had it. The gender diversity rule. They may be citing it for their own people. I, have worked in party politics for a long time, and as we all know, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. There may have been a disagreement. There may have been, they may have found him maybe too young and inexperienced. I don't know. I don't think he's that young or inexperienced. Clearly, he's been around the block in terms of politics and gun legislation. But they may be citing this for their own people. So we don't actually know what the reason is, but regardless of whether or not this is just internal Democrat Party politics that's gone wrong, or, they're blaming something else here just to look good for their own people, it's still a horrible, horrible message to go with. They could have literally said anything. I mean, this is the worst thing they could say, especially after bemoaning the lack of white male participation in Democrat politics, and they go with this excuse. Absolutely ridiculous. We have $10 from JJ. It's so good to see you again, JJ. Thank you for joining the chat. You wrote, "Welcome back. Congrats on getting hitched. Happy to meet your now hubby IRL. By the way, any single conservative ladies in the chat, everyone, listen up. Willing to talk. Deaf and ugly B word. A fatherless figure is the phrase he's using there. But it's too early in the show to swear. I usually like to go in 60 minutes before I start swearing. But my chats might show intelligence. Thank you so much, JJ, for that wonderful chat there. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna say this before I proceed with this story. If there are any single conservative woman out there, give JJ a chance. JJ, put in your, your Twitter ad, I guess, so people can find you and DM you. Solid guy. And thank you for the congrats. But let's, the marriage rate, the relationship dating pool, I understand is a mess. It's a miracle, you guys, that I've gotten married before age 30, actually. I would have never guessed that would happen. I'm barely 30. So thank you for the congrats, JJ. Someone help him out. I don't know. JJ, I'm sorry to break it to you, though. I think my viewership is primarily male, unfortunately. But you never know. You could get lucky. And I'll keep you in mind if there are any conservative single ladies out there. But once again, thank you for the congrats. Okay. Proceeding forward, Democratic National Committee. And thank you so much for the $10, JJ. Wonderful. So good to see you. I see people are vouching for him in the chat already. Okay, Democratic National Committee panel voids David Hogg's election as party vice chair. Democrat officials deny the vote against Hogg was political. So they deny these claims, okay? The DNC panel voted to void its election of David Hogg as vice chair of the Democratic Party on Monday. The initial vote comes after mounting internal criticism of Hogg, though party officials say the vote was based on procedural challenges made in February claiming Hogg and another official were improperly elected. The DNC will vote later this year whether to remove Hogg. Quote, today the DNC took its first steps to remove me from my position as a vice chair at large. Once again, shortest lived vice chair position ever. While this vote was based on how the DNC conducted its officers' elections, which I had nothing to do with. It is also impossible to ignore the broader context of my work to reform the party, which loomed large over the vote, Hogg said in a statement reacting to the vote. Quote, I ran to be the DNC vice chair to help make the Democratic Party better, not to defend an indefensible status quo. Oh, where's the quote? The indefensible status quo that has caused voters in almost every demographic group to move away from us. First, I want to say clearly and explicitly that this decision has nothing to do, this is from another representative here, has nothing to do with the service of any DNC officer, especially Hogg or Kenyatta. This is about the violation of a parliamentary procedure that was raised in a challenge filed back in February by another candidate of vice chair. Obviously, everyone's laughing at this situation because for a party that has absolutely cried about the lack of male participation this last election, particularly, do you guys remember the white men commercials from Kamala Harris's campaign? Need I remind you of that cringe fest? Clearly they were just highly disturbed and desperate for this participation, and I'm shocked that they're going with this explanation, actually. If anything, they could have literally made up any other excuse. I'm sure they could have made up an excuse. This makes them look horrible, but I hope, and everyone else in conservative circles and in the Republican Party hopes, that they continue making the same mistake. Do you guys remember the stream I had where I watched it live, the DNC elections, with all the land acknowledgements and the trannies and all this? Do you guys remember that? Yeah. That's the new face of the Democratic Party, and that will always be the face of the Democratic Party moving forward. They have learned nothing, and by dropping Hogg, as insufferable as he is, it's going to make things even worse for them. We have, hold on a second, let me scroll up here, $2 from Barney Styles. Once again, the Democrats ignored the will of the voters, writes Barney Styles. Thank you so much for the $2, Barney Styles, and absolutely. Yeah, clearly the Democrats, the liberal elites, the affluent white liberal elites, the affluent white liberal women, who are primarily running this party, it seems like, do not care about the will of the people. They never, well, I'm not going to say they never did. I'm sure at some point in the history of the Democratic Party, they were responsive, but clearly, and I've been noticing this ever since Trump's reign with the Republican Party, is that Republican elites, the rhinos, whatever you want to call them, were fearful of the impending doom that was encroaching upon them in 2016 because they saw the wave of populism coming onto them, and they tried to avoid it. I worked in local politics. I've seen it happen. I've seen a lot of rhinos, establishment, even like local Republicans trying to avoid the shadow of Donald Trump. But he was, deemed irresistible by the people. So the Republican Party was going through a major growing pains, and we still kind of are, but not as much anymore, growing through the populist evolution that has overtaken the Republican Party and the conservative movement in the United States, which we are still clearly seeing change. The Democrats and the Democratic Party in the United States still hasn't experienced that. They are still in their skin suit. People describe them as like these skin suit elites who walk around and clearly you know, they have like their Harry Sissons and their David Hoggs. They have some young people representing them, but it's so institutionalized to the point where it's just it's not relatable whatsoever to your young voter. And they're not motivated anymore. And with the recent, and obviously you can blame the last election on COVID as well, and the failures of COVID policy, I think that contributed greatly, if not the most, to this, to just the last election. But the Democrat Party hasn't undergone those growing pains the Republican Party has for the last almost 10 years at this point, almost 10 years. So I can't believe it's been 10 years since 2016. That's wild. But thank you so much for your donation, Barney Styles. JJ saying he's also turning 30 this year. JJ, you have plenty of time. 30 these days, you know, we don't live in medieval Europe anymore. We don't even live, even though I like to cosplay the 1950s, we don't even live in the 1950s anymore. 30 is not old. You have plenty of time, especially as a guy. You have plenty of time, my friend. So I will say I feel really bad for people that have to go online and date. I barely miss that. So, man, Godspeed to anyone that has to deal with that. It's rough out there. I know a few people that are trying to find spouses online, like through dating apps, and yeah, I don't know what to say. It's hard out there. It's abysmal. I mean, my prayers to those that have to go through the drudgery of Hinge. That sounds a fate worse than death. Although I'm sure you can strike it lucky. At some point. $10 for Rowhouse. Thank you so much, Rowhouse. It's wonderful to see you in the chat. You wrote, Daniela, welcome back. And we found a refugee the left doesn't like. And then you link to something. Let me look up the link. Is this the Episcopal Church? Yes, Rowhouse. Thank you for sending this article. I will actually be reading this exact article on stream later on as we proceed forward. We're already 30 minutes in, so I'm going to jump into that story soon, but thank you so much for your link, Rowhouse. You're way ahead of me. I already have it listed. You already know what I'm going to be talking about on this show, okay? Okay, Congress needs to codify budget cuts, says Mr. Pig. Is Leo waiting in the wing? Oh, look, it's Liz. Welcome to the chat. You wrote, is Leo waiting in the wings? David Hogg. Oh, what did you say? Hold on. Chat's active here. David Hogg was not wrong. I cannot believe I'm saying that. Yeah, it's shocking that we have to agree with David Hogg on this one. It's painful, but sometimes you have to give credit where it's due. Leo is around. He is waiting in the wings. I still... And you just donated $5, Liz. Thank you so much. $5, and you just wrote Leo.
Monster kill.
He is waiting in the wings. I always have him around. Look at Liz. And also, if you are a fan of Leo, we do have pillows of him in the shop, by the way, if you want your own dysgenic creature for yourself here. Oh, man. Leo is an old man. So he's resting in the Leo cave right now. But like I said, usual with every stream, if we get $70 in donations today, we will release the beast, everyone. And Leo will come out and join us in reading articles and news stories for the rest of the stream. Okay. We have a lot to cover, everyone. Let me pull up the next few stories here. Okay, what do I have next on my roster? I wanted to, yes. I have a story time for you guys. I'm going to be right back. We're going to open up with the story time, and it has to do with Spirit Airlines, okay? I've talked about it on my gaming stream. For those that were in the gaming stream, you're going to have to hear it again because we have new news stories coming out about Spirit Airlines, okay? I'm going to touch on that, but then after that, we're going to jump into the talk of the night today, and that is South Africans, everyone. I will be right back. Let me play this next commercial, and we'll proceed forward with the show, everyone.
This is what we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right. Don't let the world make your will. Freedom and balance, it's here to stay. So let's embrace.
Watch me on Rumble, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on X this Saturday. And that will start at the same time, 5 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. Central Time.
This is what we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right, don't let the world make your will. Freedom and balance, it's here to stay, so let's embrace.
Watch me on Rumble, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on X this Saturday. And that will start at the same time, 5 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. Central Time. Okay, everyone, we are back. Welcome to Culturama. If you haven't already, please like and share the stream. It goes a long way in supporting us, and hopefully we can get more viewers that way. So thank you for supporting everyone, and has already contributed so soon in this stream. Wonderful to be back like this, and having, great attention and good vibes sent my way, and the congrats. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so speaking of good vibes, I had really bad vibes actually before I returned here. For those that don't know, I was in Georgia. I was getting married last week. That's why I was gone. Well, I flew back home, okay, just a few days ago. And maybe 4 days ago or so at this point. And I flew back on Spirit Airlines. Now, I don't know if you guys follow everything that I post. I know you don't follow everything, but I have posted a bit about this already, and I have talked about it on my gaming stream, but I couldn't help but talk about it again today because a new article actually just came out. It seems like I truly am living in the zeitgeist, everybody, because it seems like while I was having problems in Spirit Airlines, it turns out other people were as well. And actually, Austin sent me this article about Spirit Airlines today, and I figured I want to talk about it here with you. But here's my experience, everyone, just to catch you up to speed. I had to fly back home using Spirit Airlines. I had one stop in Vegas, one layover that lasts like an hour. And I kid you not, at every point I was flying back, whether from the moment of checking in my bags to the moment of landing in Seattle, there was an issue. There was an issue through Spirit Airlines. And not only that, a bag I checked 2 bags. One of them that had a lot of money in there and a lot of valuable items was just gone. They didn't know where it was. It was lost. And the next day I was on hold for maybe, at this point I would say it was around 5 hours until I, heard anything back. And then when I was told that my bag was found and it was in Seattle, I went there. The customer service representatives that were at the ticket table said that it was not located at that airport. So I and my now husband had to be Karens to even get her bag. They wouldn't give it to us. Long story short, we found it thanks to one of the employees of the airport. It was just hiding in the corner of the airport where the baggage claim was. The reason why I bring this all up now for you guys is because this has been an ongoing issue, and I cannot help but send out the warning for you guys because, we all have customer service issues all the time. There's no reason to air my grievances like this. But if you are flying, I urge you desperately to not fly Spirit Airlines, okay? Because I have this story here for you guys. This was what was sent to me. So this is published. It was this today. Passenger vows to never fly Spirit Airlines again over nightmare seatmate. This is crazy. Okay, let's listen to this video.
From the year before.
Passengers were thrown out of their seats after the airplane encountered severe turbulence.
The airline canceled more than 15,000 flights.
In the last year, there have been fires during takeoff, increased risks of runway collisions, fatal turbulence, mechanical errors.
What is going on with the flying industry? I mean, it used to be such a normal part of life, and it just seems like, haven't you guys noticed that every couple months, there's some kind of controversy having to do with flights? We've seen this a lot during COVID, of course, with the masking situation. But even after that, it seems like every other month you hear some kind of issue happening in an airplane.
International system outages that canceled tens of thousands of flights and stranded angry passengers at airports.
They canceled 3 of my flights, said it was plain mechanical issues.
I have no flight, no way of getting to where I need to go.
So what's the deal with flying? More hassles, bigger safety concerns? The industry is in a nosedive. How, if ever, can it return to flying the friendly skies?
So what we've been seeing...
Okay, we're not going to listen to this whole thing. Let's just read the article. She didn't realize she'd be flying roach. A woman has sworn off flying Spirit Airlines after finding cockroaches in her seating area during a recent flight, as revealed in an X video with nearly 8 million views. Okay? Oh my God, there's roaches in the Spirit Airlines flight. I've flown over 500,000 miles on Delta, and I've never in my life seen roaches in this plane. That's crazy. I fly quite often, I fly quite often, whether it's for political events or family travel, whatever. I don't know if I've done 500,000 miles, but I've flown quite often, and I will tell you, I've never had as bad of experience like I did with Spirit Airlines. Never again will I fly in Spirit Airlines, says a passenger who goes by this username. Wrote in a caption while describing the bugged airplane, I've flown over 500,000 miles in Delta and have never in my life seen roaches on a plane. How does that even work? This is crazy. In the footage, which was reportedly taken on Mother's Day, 2 separate roaches can be seen scuttling in the bulkhead in front of the horrified flyer. I ended up in the big seat tickets. I did not think I was going to come with these big roaches as well. Nice. The gas traveler quipped in a TikTok video. Ew. Oh man, there's a picture of a roach here. I don't want to look at that. And while she remained mum during the initial palmetto bug and roach meant, this article is written, it's a travesty the way that it's written, the flyer had finally spoke up, after seeing her second six-legged seatmate. Unfortunately, the flight attendants didn't seem to share the concern. He literally did not care, said Simone here, who said that the nonchalance inspired her to repost a video on Twitter. So, anyway, if you want to have a roach as your traveler, maybe you want an extra pet, feel free to fly Spirit Airlines. I never will be again. Also, by the way, the bag that I found, my bag that was lost, I was found. I got an email today saying that they're still searching for that bag. So you know that the customer service just doesn't operate at all. It doesn't work. Their customer service doesn't work. I was on the phone there 5 hours. Their customer service representatives do not exist. Here's another, let's listen to this quickly.
Cost airline in the US, similar to Ryanair in Europe, and it's one of the worst ranked in the entire country. It actually started as a trucking company and slowly worked its way into aviation. While their tickets are definitely cheap, they make you pay extra for anything else. Things like carry-on bags cost extra, and they even make you pay to print tickets at the airport. At one point, they actually got rid of their toll-free customer service number, making landline customers pay to call them. If you want to see companies hated more than them, make sure you're following me.
I don't know who that guy is, but yeah, you think it's cheaper. It's not. As soon as I arrived, I had to pay extra for just to check my bags, or get an extra carry-on bag. I had to pay extra to get a seat to sit next to the person I was boarding the flight with. They'll get their money back anyway, even if it is seemingly cheaper. And lastly, I played this clip on my Garrett Gaming stream, but I want to play it here today. This is the quality customer service that we do see represented through Spirit Airlines, and it's something to behold. So let's take a listen to this.
Bitch, don't play with me. Do not play with me. Do not play with me, because I'm not the one nor the two. You're not the one or the two. Let's go. You ain't got shit done. You ain't gonna do nothing.
Why you keep speaking on me for nothing?
Like I said, keep my name out your mouth, bitch.
Out your mouth, because mine is always in yours for some reason.
No, some reason.
It always
Get the out of here. Out of here. Out of here before I slap the out.
You're not gonna smack shit.
Try me.
You think you're
Can't get
fucking like
try me. Try me, can't get up. I be done drop kicked your ass. Out of here, you dirty bitch.
I'm not dirty.
Yes, you are.
Excuse the language, but obviously I want to represent the customer service in the most accurate way. So
out of here, you and your raggedy ass bitch. Out of here.
Common occurrence at Spirit Airlines. It seems like more and more. We have $2. Is it $2? We have $2 from Quest Fanning. Thank you so much, Quest Fanning. Euro FAA tried to reduce the strain in New York City airspace by splitting off Newark from New York City airspace to that controlled by Philly. That hasn't worked well at all. Also doesn't help their behaving a runway too. Yeah. That sounds like a mess. By splitting off Newark from the New York City airspace, that sounds like a complete mess. That's ridiculous. Thank you for the $2, Quest Fanning. Unfortunately, with airlines are just, I don't know, it's getting worse and worse. Though I have heard rumors, I don't know how true it is. I didn't really look into it. Under the Trump admin, he does want to take out TSA protocols. I don't know how true that is, but if it is true, I think that would at least, I don't know, facilitate the experience, maybe make it a little bit more easier to go through all these, to fly. I mean, I love flying, I love traveling, but the amount of protocols that you have to go through is just absolutely ridiculous. Everyone's tired of it. And what has TSA actually prevented? I mean, I think I looked this up, and I've seen it being said online, but they haven't really prevented anything. If that's accurate, if that is accurate, that's absolutely ridiculous. So, if you're flying anytime soon, I know summer's coming up, and you guys are going to be traveling. I'm going to be traveling. Avoid Spirit Airlines. And it is funny. It's like ever since this happened to me, I've been seeing more and more stuff come out. Maybe my phone just listens to me. I've been seeing a lot more of this stuff come out in this article I found today. So So keep that in mind. Anyways, you guys, white South Africans arrive in the U.S. Let's take a listen. This is, of course, we're reaching up to the climax of this show where I'm going to talk about the big story. Let's talk about it, okay? We have been seeing a lot of figureheads already talk about it and share their opinions, but it is very pertinent, and it says a lot about the present leftist establishment. So I want to touch on this subject as well. So let's, all go together with courage, and let's talk about the conversation here in the most accurate way that we can, okay? But here we go. White South Africans arrive in the U.S.
White South Africans arriving as refugees at Dulles Airport outside Washington today on a plane chartered by the State Department, a process that usually takes years, greeted by a top-ranking U.S. diplomat.
Welcome. Welcome to the United States of America.
And this from President Trump.
It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white. But whether they're white or black makes no difference to me.
The president signed an executive order in February calling them victims of unjust racial discrimination from the country's black majority, something the South African government vigorously denies. While today the administration also canceled temporary refugee status for as many as 14,000 Afghans already in the U.S.
Now, did you guys pay attention to that? They're saying how we deny all this access to Afghans. Meanwhile, by the way, I just want to reiterate, this isn't like hundreds of thousands or thousands of these refugees that are coming from South Africa. 49 individuals, okay? 49 individuals from South Africa have come into the U.S. They all happen to be white, okay? Because they are facing real potential genocide, death. They're facing death's door potentially, because this is a story that a lot of people don't talk about, but there is real violence happening in South Africa, and it's directly affecting white people. But it's just a story that mainstream news, mainstream Western news here in the United States doesn't want to cover because it doesn't really seem to fit their narrative of the white villain rhetoric. So, anyways, but. Let me just play that again. So they're saying that we are discriminating against other populations who are coming into the country. By the way, whether they're Haitians, Somalians, Afghans, Afghanis, or anyone really from the Middle East, I want you to think about, and I'm gonna open this conversation up, just saying the obvious. Culture makes a big difference, okay? And no other way can we really evaluate one's culture, I think, than their shared religious status. Now, obviously, especially as a libertarian, I'm not saying that it's a requisite that every American be a Christian, for instance, but it also goes without saying that Christianity and the Western tradition contributed a lot to American culture and the American founding. And so, yes, perhaps you could say under the Trump administration, we are being more selective with who we are bringing into our country now, as opposed to in the past. But maybe there's a reason for it, beyond just immigration and diluting our economic system, our employment system here in the United States. But beyond that, more than just the GDP for a second here, beyond that, culture makes a big difference. We are a nation of people, after all. And when you're importing, like I always open up with this show, questionable cultures, when you're importing questionable cultures, I've talked about it in the show before as well, it does contribute to the decline of the birth rate. It contributes to a lot of destabilization in the host country. Let me finish this video, and I want to share some, I guess it's an offensive statistics segment for you guys. Let me share some offensive statistics for you, but let's finish this video.
As 14,000 Afghans already in the U.S., including many who served alongside the U.S. in the war. All face persecution from the Taliban if they are forced to go back. Veterans groups reacting.
How do American veterans of the war in Afghanistan feel about the way their Afghan interpreters and allies are being treated?
We're pissed off. This is absolutely insane. that we would treat people this way.
The welcome for white South Africans also in sharp contrast to another executive order the president signed the day he took office, suspending new refugee admissions for everyone else, including black Sudanese escaping genocide and Latin Americans fleeing violent gangs.
Some tonight question whether Elon Musk played a role in winning refugee status for his fellow white South Africans, because he has repeatedly posted on his platform X about their plight. Lester.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking.
Okay, I don't have the offensive statistics like the whole thumbnail up, but let me just show this to you guys. They're called Afrikaners, by the way, or some people refer to them as the Boers, the white farmer. But the Afrikaners are the individuals that are of, they're from they're a South African ethnic group, but they're obviously white, and they've come from Dutch settlers, as it says here. And I just have the Wikipedia page pulled up here because I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the religion. Now, where can I find the stat here? I had it here somewhere. Hold on a second. Let me just do a Control F here. Religion. Okay. Okay, so let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it in this. Okay, so it's as the Wikipedia page says here, they are predominantly Reformed Christianity. We have another stat here from the Joshua Project, which says that these people are primarily, it's obviously a white group here, but they are mainly Protestant. I saw a stat somewhere else from a different article saying that about 89 to 90% of these individuals that are coming, well, we only brought in like 50 of them, but primarily the people that are from this country, of the Dutch descendants, are, it says, oh, here it is, 89% Christian, but particularly actually Dutch Reformed. So yes, we are bringing in people, they do happen to be white, but beyond just skin color, I do want us to take a moment and actually look at the cultural and the religious background that these people are coming from, okay? We really have to take into consideration that although you could say that the Trump administration perhaps is being, picky about who they're bringing into our country, which is actually, I think, a good thing, but regardless, can we please be honest about the conversation? These people share religious and cultural foundations that this country was founded upon and that this country shares and has shared for generations. Okay, these aren't Haitians, these aren't Somalis, sure. They're not even Catholic. These are like the most white, Dutch, white, Calvinist, Protestant, I guess you could say salt of the earth Christian. Predominantly Christian, 89%. And I just want you guys to think about this. I'm going to keep saying this, we've only brought in 49 of these, and people are losing their minds. We brought in 49 of these individuals. A lot of them are, by the way, women and children, not just men of fighting age, like we have seen other populations come in here under certain ethnicities. But, mostly women and children, fathers come in, 49 of them. They're white. I would venture to say that, judging by the statistics, they're almost 100%, 90% Christian, and the institution losing their minds. For years, we have been bringing in Muslims into our countries from cultures that are not at all antithetical to Western culture. People haven't said anything. Okay? 49 of these people, it's over. We got to shut it down. Shut it down. There's a problem. They just happen to be white. This is what I wrote, and this is what Row House has already brought up. But this has to do with the Episcopal Church, by the way. Fellow Christians are now sharing their 2 cents on this topic. This is what I wrote. So let me get this straight. They've resettled over thousands of refugees into the U.S. without question, but they're being asked to resettle less than 100 white people, and that was asking for too much. Do we need more evidence pointing out to what this really is? What am I referring to? Well, let me tell you. The Episcopal Church has announced that it will end its decades-old partnership with the government to resettle refugees, citing moral opposition to resettling white Afrikaners from South Africa who have been classified as refugees by the Trump administration. Here's an article. This is the one that Row House actually shared with us earlier. We can read it together. And the reason why I say they've been resettling other migrants into our countries is because of this, everyone. A lot of religious organizations do work in tandem with the government. A lot of nonprofit organizations do work in tandem with the government and get funds from the government, such as from USAID, that have contributed greatly to bringing in migrants into our country. And they do this by providing various resources, by providing travel routes for these people, and making it as easy as possible for these individuals, whether it's from Mexico or other countries, to come into our country. And they have been getting money from the government to do so. And the Catholic Church is actually pretty well known for this, or Catholic adjacent nonprofits. But it seems as though even fellow Protestant, I call it fellow because I'm a Protestant, but even Protestant organizations are doing the same thing. And the Episcopal Church seems to have been a main contributor to this. But the very second that the people are white, they don't want nothing to do with it. They've been resettling many, people from the southern border for years. Doesn't bat an eye. They've been getting government money for this. But the moment they have to settle or resettle South African refugees, that's a problem. Because their skin color is posing against the narrative that we had to live under for so long, that white people are inherently evil. Okay, let's read this article. But first, $2 from Crest Fanning. Thank you so much, Crest Fanning. You wrote, I guess the argument could be made that their ancestors were oppressors during the apartheid years. Crest Fanning, I guess you could say that as well. But also, I have seen this be brought up a lot as well. Is that the Dutch in South Africa, I wasn't aware of this, were present in that country for over 400 years. Okay, that's almost rivaling the American founding. Now, if we're going to consider that, because you see a lot of these African natives say that they should go back to their home country, right, of the Netherlands, and not stay in South Africa. They're colonizers. They're not there rightfully, but they've been there for nearly 400 years, for many generations. So they've been known. At that point, Matt Walsh said this best, what even is a native anymore if you're there for about 500 years? Again, rivaling white people here in the United States. What do we say of white people living here in the United States, or may even come from families that may have participated or been a part of the slavery economy here in the United States as well? At that point, it's just it's challenging to even address that. But if we're hitting on nearly 4 centuries, at that point, does it even matter? The argument, Barney Stiles writes, the argument could also be made that South Africa was better off under the apartheid government. I apologize for the sun, by the way. I need to get blackout curtains. The sun will soon set. Okay, let's read this article. The Episcopal Church refuses to resettle white Afrikaners, ends partnership with the U.S. government. In light of our church's steadfast commitment to racial justice and reconciliation with our historic ties to the Anglican Church of Southern Africa, we are not able to take this step, the presiding bishop of the church said in a letter. In a striking move that ends a nearly 4 decades-old relationship between the federal government and the Episcopal Church, the denomination announced just yesterday that it is terminating its partnership with the government to resettle refugees, citing moral opposition to resettling white Afrikaners from South Africa who have been classified as refugees by the Trump administration. In a letter sent to the members of the church, the Most Reverend Sean W. Rowe, the presiding bishop of the church, said that 2 weeks ago, the government, quote, informed Episcopal Migration Ministries that under the terms of the federal grant, they are expected to resettle white Afrikaners from South Africa, whom the U.S. government has classified as refugees. The request, Rose said, crossed a moral line for the Episcopal Church, which is part of the global Anglican communion that boasts among its leaders the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu, a celebrated and vocal opponent of apartheid in South Africa. In light of our church's steadfast commitment to racial justice and the social justice in churches is just... I will say that Protestant churches do suffer from this quite a bit. The whole social justice, racial justice, the politicization of all of that. I'm not a fan of politicizing the church environment. I understand a lot of people are going to agree with me on this, actually, because I know a lot of conservatives, get involved in Protestant, Catholic, regardless. Especially right now, a lot of Christians are getting politically involved. So this is an unpopular opinion. I do not appreciate the politicization of certain topics within the church, but mainly because I have attended churches before where when the election was going on, they made it very clear that one candidate was ethically better than the other, and happened to be Biden at that church. But politics is just one of those things I think is inherently an earthly matter. But that's my opinion. I know a lot of people won't agree with me on that. They say we're also supposed to build God's kingdom here on planet Earth, whatever. But the commitment to racial justice bit is just the social justice in churches is absolutely ridiculous. And I understand the argument that the universalization of rights, of human rights, flowing from the Christian tradition would lead into this, and that would make sense. But I feel like if you want the most authentic church experience, it's best you just don't touch on those topics. Anyways, in light of our church's steadfast commitment to racial justice and reconciliation and our historic ties to the Anglican Church of Southern Africa, we are able to take this step. Accordingly, we have determined that, the bishop writes, at the end of the federal fiscal year, we will conclude our refugee resettlement grant agreements with the U.S. federal government. Rose stressed that while the Episcopal Migration Ministries will seek to wind down all federally funded services by the end of the federal fiscal year, in September, the denomination will continue to support immigrants and refugees in other ways, such as offering aid to refugees who have already been resettled. Oh, really? Like the ones that have already come in under the previous administration, perhaps? The announcement came just as flights with Afrikaners were rescheduled to arrive at Dulles International Airport outside of Washington, D.C. I don't know how to pronounce that airport. The first batch of entries after Trump declared via a February executive order that the U.S. would take in Afrikaners of Southern Africa who are victims of unjust racial discrimination. Newsflash, racial discrimination can go both ways. We have 2 donations sent in already. $2 from JJ. Thank you so much, JJ. You said check XDM. I will check that in a moment. And we have another one from Rowhouse. $10 from Rowhouse. Thank you, $10. Thank you, $10. Thank you, Rowhouse, for the $10. You wrote MSNBC's reaction to the White House South Africans, most extreme at 3-minute mark. Okay, I will pull that link up. I will pull that link up here in a moment, Rowhouse. Thank you so much for that wonderful donation. Are the white refugees bringing Die Arntwoord with them? I hope not, Fire Waco. Die Arntwoord is not my... Arntwoord is... I used to like them. I can't listen to them anymore. JJ writes, how much left till Leo? Entropy Nomad, I think Entropy Nomad said we were $30 in. I have to go check. I'd have to go back and count, but if someone has the amount, I think we need like 30 more, if I'm not mistaken. I'll go back and count during the break here, but the word dull and then S, Daniela. Thank you, Rowhouse. At $53 now, says Quest Fanning. Okay. At $53. So, someone that's good at math. 70 minus 53. That's where we're at in the donation goal. Okay, Row House, I'm going to play your link here in a second, but I just want to show people here a visual because, you know, we're listening to all this gobbledygook from the Episcopal Church stating that, you know, that goes against their position on racial injustice. This is what institutional racial injustice actually looks like. This individual is part of the South African government. He is an institutional figurehead in South Africa, okay? He is part of their parliamentary system. This is what he's singing.
Shoot to kill Yamaza, kill the Boer, the farmer, kill the Boer, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. Attention.
So for those that don't know what they're saying, although this is a very often cited video, this Malema is his last name, Julius Malema. He is singing "Kill the Boer." Boer is the word for farmer in Dutch, I believe, in Dutch, and so Afrikaners are often also referred to as Boer, white farmer. And so he's singing a song. Once again, an institutional governmental figure in South African government is singing this song to, by the way, swaths of people. And we're supposed to just ignore this and say that these people aren't actually experiencing racial injustice. Here's another quick article I wanted to skim for you guys. The Tennessee pastor kidnapped at gunpoint in South Africa recalls a miracle that saved his life. This is the reality that these people have to live under, by the way, in South Africa.
I love LA.
It's always ads. Let's just read the article. A Tennessee pastor who was kidnapped at gunpoint at his church in South Africa just before Easter is speaking out about his experience, a miracle that saved his life. Joshua Sullivan, a 34-year-old fellow Baptist church pastor and a missionary, was kidnapped by several armed masked men who broke into his church at the Eastern Cape province in the evening of April 10th, took cell phones from parishioners, and drove away with Sullivan in his own truck. Okay? There's a picture of him. They got me up and they took me into their own vehicle. They got the keys from my vehicle. They put me in. All four of those men were inside of the vehicle. He immediately started telling me, so I know who you are. I know you're American. I know you have money, and we're going to kidnap you. And we are going to get, he said, 5 million rand, which is about $260,000. Welcome to South Africa, everyone. When you're in the wrong part of town, that's what happens. And this doesn't even paint the whole picture. As far as, because this guy, he's still an American. What the Boers or the Afrikaners have to deal with in South Africa every day. And I did want to end this segment on this note, but Matt Walsh said something, and I'll get to your video in a second here, Row House. Matt Walsh said something that I do want to admit, shocking. I'm not seeing a lot of other movement figureheads, not institutional. A lot of figureheads within the conservative movement really say this. This is what Matt Walsh said, okay? For years, left-wing academics have been teaching that whiteness is a malignant parasitic disease that must be eradicated. Race is not incidental to their goals. They actually hate white people. Just listen to them and they will tell you. New York City psychoanalyst calls whiteness incurable parasitic-like condition. Whiteness is a condition that one first acquires, and then one has a malignant parasitic-like condition to which white people have a particular susceptibility. The condition is foundational, generating characteristic ways of being in one's body, in one's mind, and in one's world. Parasitic whiteness renders its hosts appetites voracious, insatiable, and perverse. There is not yet a permanent cure. This is absolutely crazy, but I'm glad he said this. Matt Walsh has said this multiple times now on his Twitter and on his YouTube, but this is what's really happening, is that, you know, bringing in people into the country for the first time really as a refugee, white refugees, you know, in a long time. I'm not saying it's the first time ever in American history, but in a long time. My family came as refugees from the Soviet Union. We're white, you know. But now, after years of getting people from different cultures, non-white cultures, okay, non-white demographics of people, now we're getting refugees of the having the skin color that goes simply against their narrative that they've been touting for the last 30 years now, that we are living under the tyranny of parasitic individuals that share this skin color. It goes directly against their institutional teaching that has infected higher academic institutions that I've talked about on this show all the time, that open up this show, that they teach. And I've learned it. I didn't accept it. I was taught this in college, and a lot of other young people are to this day, that whiteness is inherently, latently, it brings in evil and prejudice. And the simple existence of white people retains these systems of control that white people supposedly have over minorities, soon not to be minorities any longer. But it has everything to do with race and this and ethnicity. And this is why Matt Walsh quote tweeted this individual who says that, this Joel Berry guy, who said that the left wants unchecked third world migration because they want to destroy American culture, faith, and a way of life. Race is incidental to their goals. That's not true. And Matt Walsh clearly pointed that out. Now, is culture and religion a part of it? Absolutely. I already talked about that on this show. Much better to bring in, you know, Calvinist, Dutch farmers in this country, I think, than Somalian Muslim refugees. You know, I just, that's my personal opinion. Or, you know, cannibals from Haiti. Or drug lords from Mexico. I think it's better to get, you know, your salt of the earth Protestant farmers. I'm a Calvinist myself, so, you know, I want to help out my fellow Christians here. But it absolutely has everything to do with race, and it does with these people, and this is why they are reacting so strongly to it, and why they're foaming at the mouth, is because it's actually showing that maybe, perhaps, white people can suffer racial injustices just as much, if not even more so, than minorities have, at least in this country, and other countries have in generations. Matt Walsh says, the Great Replacement is real. If you had any doubt, this story about the South African refugees should clear up for you. The left wants unchecked third world migration because they want to make America less white. That's it. It's that simple. That's why they oppose the white refugees, because white refugees defeat the whole purpose of the program. JJ writes, Joel Berry's from the Babylon Bee. He's not just some guy, Danielle. I know JJ. He's from the Babylon Bee. I said it to belittle him in that moment, but I follow him. I'm very well aware he's with the Babylon Bee. Row House, let me play your video that you sent in, and I'm pretty sure that will supplement this story here. Where is your link? I gotta find it. Barney Styles asking, Calvinist, isn't Episcopalianism a rejection of Calvinism? Maybe that's the issue. That's an interesting point, Barney Styles. I don't think they're religiously or doctrinally motivated. Episcopalians and Calvinists, they do believe in slightly different things. At the end of the day, I think Christians are Christian no matter what, obviously. And I would hope that the bishop of the Episcopal Church would say the same. But I don't know if it's motivated in the same way, but that's a very interesting point that you bring up. Okay, Row House, you sent this video. MSNBC launches into a session of hate against white refugees coming from South Africa. These refugees have been thoroughly vetted, unlike the refugees that Joe Biden's let in. MSNBC horribly suggests the genocide against the refugees is justified. Wow. Let's listen to this.
Ever. Trump has virtually halted refugee admission in America for people fleeing war and famine in places like Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Back with Rick, Mark, and Eddie. Rick Stengel.
Yes, it's so deeply and morally wrong-headed and repulsive. These are the descendants of the people who created the most diabolical system of white supremacy in human history, apartheid. They're not directly responsible for it, but it was a system that actually moved black.
We're going to get to the 3-minute mark. I do want to watch this entire video, though. I want to hear what this man's saying, but we'll get to it.
Of the arable land. So they inherited the land that the black people had to give up. It was called forced removal. It was something called a Bantustan policy, where they moved black people out of the cities and farmlands into these remote areas with non-arable land. I mean, it was just one of the most worst processes ever. But what has happened in this strange, bizarre world we're living in is that the Afrikaners have become the darling of these right-wing white supremacist movements around the world, that it's like the lost cause for them. It's like the old...
Notice how talking about an actual... There's an actual genocide happening in South Africa. And this is something, once again, I haven't really come across this. I've heard about it like in passing a little bit. I remember when I was in college, but it isn't talked about at all, actually, in mainstream political circles, in the mainstream news. I've only been more aware of it, honestly, you guys, ever since Elon Musk has brought it up in the last few months. And I've done some looking into, I've talked about in stream before, and it's scary, it's very frightening, the amount of violence that these people have to face in that country. And so the fact of the matter is that for the first time, this administration is really bringing this up for the first time in, all of presidential history, I would say. And we're bringing this up, and we actually are trying to talk about it. And the fact of the matter is that the reason that we bring it up is cause for these people, like this loathsome individual here, to call it a calling card for white supremacists, because somehow wanting to save people that are facing actual racial injustice, institutional racial injustice, as we have seen, there's institutional figures singing about the deaths of these individuals. Wanting to help those people is somehow white supremacist. Very strange how they will formulate it in this way. You don't see any right-wing people talk like this, okay? I haven't not seen, maybe there's a few out there in the online right, I don't know, but I haven't had people say that, the movement surrounding BLM, or the people that are involved in BLM, they want a black supremacist, home state or country. They do want to kill white people, and we will come to talk about this with the Karmelo Anthony case coming up, because there's more highlights on that. But it's been obvious that now, the racial tensions in this country is getting more and more involved, more heated, especially following Karmelo Anthony. And I've come across a few TikToks now that deliberately show, that these people, Black Americans, unfortunately, some of them are making TikToks saying that they will just kill white people. But we are somehow supposed to turn a blind eye to that. But wanting to talk about an actual injustice happening in a different country is a white supremacist calling card. I want you guys to really think about that and ask yourselves if this is normal, that this is a normal reaction that this man is putting out there.
Confederacy, they're held up as these white Christians who are being dispossessed of their land. It's like this is a modern replacement theory in a country where, by the way, white people make up 7% of the population and own 78% of the farmland. So it's actually, there's no injustice here. As you mentioned, it's taking places away from refugees who are really being crushed by authoritarian governments and military governments. For these folks who have never had anything happen to them. I mean, Trump amazingly called it a genocide, one of the worst lies I've ever heard him say. There's just been a small handful of farmers that have been killed over the past.
There has just been a small handful. It was just a few farmers that were slaughtered and killed in front of their families on their property. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It was just a handful of white farmers that were killed for the color of their skin. It's totally fine, by the way. There's no genocide happening, okay? It was just a handful. It wasn't like, hundreds of thousands of people were killed. It was a handful of farmers. He doesn't even give a number. He just says a handful, whatever that means to him. Okay, where is the... I don't want to listen to this guy preach the whole time. I wanted to, but he's going on. Let's go here.
Who will have the decision-making power to determine who will run the country? And here, this idea that the republic must remain a white nation is evidenced in this move, which is so explicit that it cannot be denied. And so when we don't describe it for what it is, we become, in an ironic way, complicit in what they're doing. It's a white nationalist agenda, it seems to me.
You know what I'm going to ask you? Where are the Democratic voices offering a different message to the world about who America is today, right now, as this is happening?
Look, I think you showed Chris Murphy. I think he's one of the people speaking out. And I think that Democrats are speaking out. I think the problem is that just in the time that we've been here, we have talked about Donald Trump accepting a $400 million aircraft from a royal family. We have talked about this instance of white nationalism, which I completely agree. I mean, if Donald Trump just didn't want immigrants, you'd have all of the terribleness we have. But it actually turns out he does want some immigrants. He wants the white Christians from South Africa to be immigrants to this country. You began, when we first sat down, talking about the rationing of pencils. Right? A world in which the 11-year-old girl has a quota on the number of pencils she can have. Yes. All of these are of a part. They are all of Donald Trump, who wants to be a strongman. He wants to be a dictator. He wants to be able to dictate how he flies, how he lives,
what even
who
is
he
this?
associates with. He likes associating. I think he likes that he got a plane from a royal family. I don't think he would have taken the plane if it had come from...
The absolute Trump derangement syndrome, these people. Unbelievable. Quest Fanning writes, is that the same 7% of the population of South Africa that pay all of the taxes to support the 25% on welfare? Yeah, Quest Fanning, exactly. Good point. I had things that ran through my mind when I heard that the 7% thing. I didn't want to bring it up, but yeah, I mean, there's probably a reason why the 7% owns that much land if it's true. Mr. Pig writes, Trump is a white nationalist. Then they scream as he assembles a rainbow coalition of populists to win the popular vote. Yeah, exactly. He won the popular vote, right? Maybe these people need to be reminded of it. Absolutely disgusting. And I don't know if these people are willingly doing it, though. That's the thing, is that, do you guys think they actually believe this rhetoric? Because surely they must look at this and see how crazy they sound. The fact that Donald Trump is wanting to save these people somehow makes him a white supremacist, white supremacist essentially, is crazy, because they happen to be white and Christian. Can we talk about the honest conversation here? Two things. One, the institutional order hates white people here in America. Matt Walsh said it. Is true. I'm glad some major figurehead in the right wing said it. It is a racial thing. Number two, and let's be honest here, what do you guys think? What demographic do you think would better assimilate into our country? A Calvinist farmer from South Africa that already maintains and partakes in rather Western values, or a Somalian refugee that's Muslim, or a Haitian for that matter? JJ, thank you for the reminder. I'm going to check your DM right now, actually. So sorry about that. Let's see here. You sent in a few. I'm sorry I haven't responded to all of these. Accountability for historic privilege. What is this? Okay. Accountability for historic privilege. Crazy that they found a woke way to say we must punish their bloodline. Do you guys see this? Is this on the screen? Yeah, okay. Crazy that they found a woke way to say we must punish their bloodline. This part here means they got away before we had a chance to get our revenge and punish them. What is this? The African National Congress, Department of Communications, Information and Publicity. So this is a statement from the African National Congress, and it states, I'm zooming in here, zoom enhance. What the instigators of this falsehood seek is not safety, but impunity from transformation. They flee not from persecution, but from justice, equality, and accountability for historic privilege. The misuse of refugee protections to shield right-wing anti-transformation elements is a violation of the spirit and the letter of international law. Millions around the world face real persecution, and they are the ones deserving the sanctuary, not those offended by a democratic society working to redress past injustice. Well, it looks like that the world, international law and the world government, in whatever capacity that it exists to this day, seems to pick and choose what exactly can be considered injustice. So that's fun. Imagine having a one world government with international law that says this group of people, they're oppressed, they can get whatever they want. This group of people, yeah, your father may have been slaughtered from your family, but you're white. Okay, I know your neighbors got slaughtered, but it was just a handful of them, so it doesn't really make it's not a big deal, because, your ancestors that were here for over 400 years now and have a pretty set culture and people here in this country. You guys are white, so therefore, you come from a more, I guess, innovative culture. We can't allow you to be considered a victim here. You just aren't victims. I'm sorry. Slaughter lights, right? It's Quest fanning. That's hilarious. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing this, JJ. This is extremely frightening and depressing. And disgusting, actually. Okay, so, guys, that was my coverage of the South African dilemma, or it shouldn't have to be a dilemma, but it's turning into one, unfortunately, with the leftists of this country. But we still have a lot more to cover, and because it's Tuesday, I can go on longer than usual, everyone. So stay tuned. We still have a lot to cover. I want to cover, for those in the know, the James Lindsey situation and the woke right and what the online right-wing spaces are going to look like in the future. I'm going to be talking about that, and I may touch on the Karmelo Anthony case as well once again. So stay tuned for that, you guys. We still have a lot more to cover here. And we're close to the Leo goal. I think that someone, last I checked, it was $53 of the 70. So please let me know if I'm correct there. I will total it up as we go along. But I will return, everyone. Please enjoy your favorite commercial break. And hopefully we will reach that Leo goal. And also, please, is Nelson 65 right? Did she freeze or is she reading? I hope I'm not frozen. Please like and share the stream, everybody, so we can get more people to watch us. I will be right back.
Well, here comes Daniela like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds.
old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben & Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have "Glad You Came Out" and "I'm so happy that you're queer" in the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hey, Liberty lovers, stop scrolling, because if you're tired of the same old news, then I've got just the wake-up call for you. I want to thank you for tuning in to Culturama, and I know that you're enjoying every minute of it. Join us at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. The Wake Up America show is Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a great way to start your day. Coffee's optional, but waking up is mandatory. Remember, at Wake Up America, we'll keep you sharp, we'll keep you laughing, most of all, we'll keep you free. I'll see you in the morning.
What we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right. Don't let the world make your will. Freedom and balance, it's here to stay. So let's embrace.
Watch me on Rumble, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on X this Saturday. And that will start at the same time, 5 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. Central Time.
What we hold, values that keep us grounded still. Stand up for what is right. Don't let the world make your will. Freedom and balance, it's here to stay.
Okay, everyone, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that last commercial. I know it's a little bit creepy, but it's a requisite commercial because you must buy Atomic Blonde coffee, everyone. And before I proceed with the next story, I know you guys are waiting on the edge of your seats for this one. I want to show you guys something very, very important, okay? So let me just boot up the stream here, or the screen. Okay. I debate on the need for American expansionism today. Fari Waco, are you wanting to join a debate panel on Culturama? That's actually something I'm going to be launching here. I want to do it this month if I can. I want to host a debate panel. So please DM me on Twitter if you guys want to be on that debate panel, okay? Anyone can be on. You don't have to be an expert. Just make sure you know the topic and share with me a topic that you're interested in, and I would love to get you on. Okay, before we proceed forward, Culturama products, everybody. Look at this wonderful products. The Culturama collection. We have wonderful pillows, delicious coffees, sweatshirts, mugs. All you have to do is go to the ap4libertyshop.com. Once again, that is the ap libertyshop.com. And there you can find a wonderful assortment of products. We have, there it is, the letter A, the letter P, the number 4, libertyshop.com, and you type in the search bar the Culturama collection. You select that, you'll see this big beautiful banner of me holding a ray gun killing radioactive space communist zombies, and on there you'll find wonderful products like the Culturama logo pillow right here, or the Leo the Beast pillow. Monster kill. Sweatshirts. We have a jewelry box. We have mugs. I have the mug right here as well. And we have candles, a Tim Pool beanie hat, and also the most popular product on here is the Atomic Blonde Culturama coffee. Now you can buy you can make a one-time purchase. You can make a consecutive purchase for every couple of weeks up to every couple months, and that way you get delicious coffee sent to your house. Or apartment, wherever it is that you live, or you can also enjoy it hot over ice. You can enjoy it many ways, and you can also support the stream while enjoying that coffee. So anyways, I just had to share that with you. So if you guys saw that commercial and you had a compulsion to buy some coffee or buy that coffee on the commercial there, this is where you'll find it. The ap4libertyshop.com. Culturama collection coffee. Sorry, I have severe performance anxiety and also look like an ogre. Well, you don't have to have your camera on, Fire Waco, if you're shy, but that's completely understandable. I was also in a few debate panels online. I'm sure you guys can find it if you look me up and do some searching. So I understand that debates are hard. I will admit, debates are hard. Obviously depends on the subject matter and how well informed you are on it, but it's not for everyone. And I thought I could do well in debates, but it's actually more challenging than what meets the eye. I listen to debates online all the time, like, leftists versus right-wingers, and all these figureheads, but it is more challenging than it looks. So, I completely understand that. Okay, you guys. So, right-wing online spaces, all right? Speaking of debates, we have here a figurehead within, I would say, the conservative zeitgeist, or one of the many, obviously, figureheads of the conservative zeitgeist, and I don't know how relevant you guys think he is. I think he's fairly relevant, at least right now, and that is James Lindsey. Now, here's his account. Why do I think he's so relevant? Well, he's, behind the new discourses right here. You guys may have seen this before. A very, I would say, not like the biggest part of the right wing. They're not like Turning Point USA, but New Discourses is, I would say, a fairly prominent site that one would refer to if they're finding themselves within online right-wing spaces specifically. Another reason why I would say that this individual, James Lindsey, is becoming a right-wing institutional figurehead, or a thought leader, I guess you could say, is also because he's being invited to join Turning Point at their events. He's also just recently been platformed by Daily Wire. And this is why this is important. A couple of months ago, James Lindsey came out with this slogan, I guess you could say. It's called the woke right. And essentially, this is how he characterizes radical elements, what he deems as radical elements of the right wing. And I've talked about this on my game stream on Saturday, but it is sort of gatekeeping. Now, a lot of people within the right wing have issues with this. And so the reason why this topic has been brought back up now within Twitter, right-wing Twitter, online spaces, is because he was just platformed by Daily Wire. He was shown speaking with Jordan Peterson, and we'll listen here in a moment. And let's just say that he has been crashing out ever since this appearance. Let's take a listen. This is what James Lindsey wrote. Anti-communist. I'm an anti-communist too, so I should be agreeing with him, right? Well, we'll come to talk about that. Calling them woke right isn't vacant. It's deep. It pulls from a proper understanding of fascism as a reaction to Marxism and weak liberalism. An alienating force. When Jordan and I called out woke left 10 years ago, we were right then, and we are right now about the woke right. Okay?
The mythic past from which they've been dispossessed that never existed, a romantic vision of who they were at some golden era in the past that they've been ejected from, but they're still now the alienated outsider. They're still the alien force came in, dispossessed them from who they are, and now they're going to claim it back. And the way they're going to do it is by organizing a fascist structure as an answer to the degeneracy, a very rigid structure and in a too rigid structure in answer to the not rigid enough structure of communism. And then what they do is the exact same transgression against the center to build their own power out in their local little cult against the big game of society. They're attacking the game of society to build their numbers with the hope of being able to replace it in both cases. So this is why I call these people woke. It's not just that they've gone on cancel rampages and struggle sessions. It's not that they've put me through a relentless struggle session since September without stopping, or, doxed my family and everything else in their wrath. I said, James calls them all woke right, and they decide to prove me wrong by canceling me and struggling me and doxing my family and acting exactly like we all went through in 2015 when you stood up about the pronouns. And that's the thing, Jordan. Back then, you stood up and you paid. That was ugly. And you were right. You saw that when they said you will use these literally transgressive pronouns.
Or else.
You said no. And it's like the world lost its mind.
I'm sorry. I just want to say I can't help but say something. Yes, he was doxxed. His daughter was doxxed. There was a lot of issues there, and I don't agree with people that do this. Obviously, I mean, I'm not, as kind of like a public figure now online. Who am I to say that's okay? It's not okay. It's horrible. You should never do that. But this is what happens when you're basically in online spaces in general, and I think it's a little misleading of him to bring out as though this is just a radical right doing this to him. True radicals, I would say, people like Nick Fuentes were doxxed as well. Richard Spencer also doxxed. These people's lives are put in danger as well for being involved simply in online spaces. So this is just kind of the nature of the beast. He should be used to this. I do find it misleading that he's bringing this up, but let's continue.
On you. And it's looking back, it's almost quaint, but it wasn't quaint to go through. But the thing is you were right. And then Peter and Helen and I did the grievance studies.
And by the way, when I said that Nick Fuentes, Richard Spencer, I'm talking about like their locations. Obviously their names are out there, but locations, like people's own livelihoods, as we've seen with what happened with Nick Fuentes just a few months ago. I mean, he could have been killed for all we know. That would have sucked. Okay. But like, clearly not an individual. Well, actually, he is an individual that James Lindsey would call woke right. They face similar dangers, if not more so, than what James Lindsey is what he's experienced through here.
Papers, and we were right. So we were right, and I see the same structures, the same patterns, the same behaviors, the same reactions, the same explanations with slight modifications. That's the difference between communism and fascism as modern archetypes. And what I see when you can think of those as modern era mythologies for how society is supposed to be organized. And I see the same thing. And the thing is, we were right then, and we're right now.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it as the hijacking of belief.
The
right?
hijacking
that's a nice
of
phrase.
belief. It's a parasite.
Yeah.
No, this is the evolution of the right wing, and this is what happens with political ideologies all the time. The woke right label here is used, and I'm just going to say this, there are parts of what he's saying that I suppose I can understand. There is a strain of radicalism within the right wing, particularly with young people right now, that is fairly attractive. And for some people, that is concerning. There are some motivators, there are some objectives that these people hold to that would be deemed as concerning. And I understand that. But he is on the trajectory of just outright calling Donald Trump woke right at this point. He is gatekeeping parts of the right wing that are actually fairly animated and fairly motivated to make real life institutional changes and party changes within this country. And that's very concerning. So what this is doing is what I foresee happening here is that James Lindsey and people that share his rhetoric are going to stagnate large parts of the right wing, and that's fairly concerning. And there was a comment, I don't know if it was here, but someone mentioned this this truth is that we've seen this happen throughout the right wing in the past before. I don't know how well versed you guys are in like the conservative movement in America, but the same thing has happened with the William F. Buckley. Well, he's not American, but like the William F. Buckley types and what William F. Buckley said about the radical right back in the 1960s or 70s in that era, where he called people like part of the John Birch Society back then as part of the radical right and gate-kept large swaths of actually, I would say, fairly motivated and mobilized, grassroots mobilized parts of the right wing that were anti-communist, fighting for the same cause that we still do to this day, and they were ostracized and they were basically given the same treatment. And so what James Lindsey is doing here is that he's trying to invoke the spirit of William F. Buckley conservatism that gets to tell you what you can or cannot believe as a conservative. And that's going to make the movement entirely ineffectual. And it seems like that's what he's doing here. Is that James Lindsey's, is that his motivation? I don't think so. I think he truly is driven by fear to some regard, seeing the radicalism of the right wing. But radicalism, regardless of how you look at it, there's parts of it I don't agree with. There's parts of it that is really motivating and is perhaps even necessary. Remember what I said in the beginning of the stream. The rhinos, the institutional Republicans, called Donald Trump radical. They called the wave of populism radical. And they thought that was wrong and that was evil and that was going to tear the party apart and deem the conservative movement and the Republican movement entirely ineffectual, when really it did the exact opposite. It motivated young people to get involved in politics. It motivated young men to want to get in there and actually, throw their hat into the ring instead of being completely feeling like they're disenfranchised just for being a white male. And so what James Lindsey is doing here is kind of scummy, is all I'm going to say on that. But Buckley, I thought he was British, was American, first language Spanish. I hear Pierce Morgan every time I hear William F. Buckley speak. So, the woke right is trying to pivot, calling itself the Buchanan right. Okay, I think you tweeted this, yesterday? No, today. Earlier today. The woke right is trying to pivot, calling itself the Buchanan right. So now he's calling the woke right the Buchanan right. And many of them are neo-Buchananites. But it's obvious that the mode they're using is woke, and that they're pushing family-friendly socialism and tyranny. They're old school elite family with speech affectations that implies. Yeah, they're very posh. Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't certain. His first language was Spanish? Is that true? What? Hold on a second. For those that don't know, William F. Buckley. Let's read his Wikipedia here quickly. All right. Public intellectual. He was born in New York City. He spoke Spanish in his first language before learning French and then English as a child. He served stateside U.S. Army. Okay. I don't know anything about his. I know he's a founder of National Review. That's all I know. And he had his show, Firing Line. But he served in the U.S. Army during World War II. Following that war, he attended Yale University, where he engaged in debate and conservative political commentary. He graduated from Yale with honors in 1950. And he worked for the CIA for 2 years. Well, there you go. I watched some Firing Line in the past. I actually kind of liked William F. Buckley a few years ago. But then hearing what he's done to a CIA asset, probably, writes Mr. Pig. Yes. Hearing what he did to, this directly relates to the John Birch Society, but hearing what he said about the John Birch Society and other elements of the conservative American movement really made me second guess. You know, also having to do with Eagle Forum, I think he said some negative things about Eagle Forum as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, more of the grassroots, mobilized, Reagan-esque, but not entirely, the silent majority, you know, Americans that he sort of talked down to, I took issue with, but well, there you go. The more you know. He apparently knew Spanish and French before learning English. Let me see if I could find a clip of him speaking. William F. Buckley. What should we watch?
Now listen, you player, stop calling me a crypto-Nazi.
Let's stop
or I'll
calling
slap
names
you in
and
your
let's get-
goddamn face, and
let's-
you'll stay plastered. Now listen, you player, stop calling me a
I don't know.
crypto-Nazi.
I hear Michael Knowles looks up to Buckley. Does he? Is Michael Knowles a Buckley fan? That explains a lot. If that's true. Interesting. Not looking too good for the Daily Wire right now. I do wonder. It seems as though the Daily Wire and as well as Turning Point USA is sort of embodying these institutional right-wing elements of the past. Once again, I've attended America Fest just this last Christmas, and I ran into James Lindsey. I took a picture with him. It's on the thumbnail of this video. And so I met him, and he's there. He, was a known attendee of Turning Point. In fact, I think he spoke there. I didn't listen to James Lindsey, but, and I'm pretty sure that James spoke at the last few Turning Point events. And now here he is being platformed by Daily Wire. So interesting how that works. Okay, and last in the James Lindsey crash out of the woke right, I couldn't help. I had to mention this, okay? He compared himself to the Pope, everyone, okay? Let us stand in full agreement with His Holiness Pope Leo on his point. Pope Leo said communism has penetrated even Christian circles disguised as solidarity. It is our pastoral duty to expose it. Okay, communism has penetrated even Christian circles disguised as solidarity. It is our pastoral duty to expose it. Pretty base take from the new Pope, I must add. And, even as a Protestant, I'm going to say that. But, this guy stood in agreement. And James Lindsey quote tweeted it by saying this, no, you don't. If you did, I'd be your leader instead of kicked to the curb. Stupid fascists. You are not anti-communists. You're communists one step removed. And given how the PRC runs, 0 steps today. So, James is crashing out. I don't know the history that James has with Dr. Taylor Marshall. I'm assuming they obviously have a very negative history because it seems rather personal, but can someone explain to me why James Lindsey is crashing out? And this is embarrassing, you guys. It's kind of sad. It's kind of embarrassing. Pizza balls would have been more fun. I agree, Quest Fanning. I think pizza balls would have been... Yeah, I was rooting for him. John Locke, the very legend John Locke, wrote, I support a lot of what you say, but what are you even saying here? The Pope and Church are actually communists and fascists? And James said, no, that's what Taylor Marshall is. This ain't on account wrote, leader of what? How is he a fascist? Writes Dreamless Sleepwalker. So people are like equally confused. This person compared James Lindsey to Invader Zim, which makes a lot. I can see that. He's kind of uppity and wanting to be in control of everything. I'll be your leader. This is really funny. I like this one. What is this? Is a woke right in the room with us right now? I just like that picture. I don't know why someone put that on. You are the gayest idiot, LOL. Okay. You're not anti-communist. No one is anti-communist but me. You're all fascist. I am the savior of the normal right. I am the only anti-communist. Make me your leader, writes James Lindsey. And they put a gif of... James Lindsey is easy to make fun of with memes. Yes, Row House. Redefining words to better push your political agenda equals woke. And this person sent a picture of the definition of the word fascist. One of a body of Italian nationalists organized in 1919 under Benito Mussolini to oppose Bolshevism. I have no idea what he's talking about. Anyone? Complete senior moment for James Lindsey. Anyways, I think I made my point fairly clear as far as my opinions on the... As far as my opinions on the woke right, it is quite concerning that we do have these figureheads come out and try to stifle potential growth and potential influence of the right wing. Obviously, I talk about this and I write about this quite frequently, but I do want to reiterate the point back, is that he is, like I said, being paraded around by these large platforms, the largest right-wing platforms, like Turning Point USA and like Daily Wire. Someone just said that Michael Knowles is a fan of Buckley, another Daily Wire figurehead. I want us to ask ourselves, why is that? And that's all I'm going to leave it there for you guys with this segment here. It is true. We are very close to Leo Row House. I believe someone wrote that if we get $7 more, we are going to
Monster kill.
We're going to unleash the beast from the chains. His own chains are going to break him out if we get $7 more, everyone. But for now, all you get is this pillow. So, I did have a couple more things that I wanted to cover here. I am going to get an Excedrin. I will step out and be right back, everybody. But while I'm doing that, consider this. If someone donates, if one generous soul donates $7 more, you will get to see one of the most dysgenic creatures on this planet. I would even say, I don't think even God had any hand in the creation of this revolting creature. It's something you may want to see, everybody. Okay? Okay. Let me go on a quick commercial break. I will be back. I'm going to get that headache medicine, and and we will proceed with the stories I have here today. We already had $2 from Barney Styles. Right, so let's do it. So $5 more, you guys, and we may bring the boy out. Thank you so much, Barney Styles. Okay, everyone, I will be right back. Let me see what. Here we go.
Times are changing, feel the buzzing, staying true when they're fussing. Keep the flag a-flying through stormy nights. With the star-spangled banner, I stand tall with manners. Cross my heart with hope in sight. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. Stick to values in the trends. Families gather, let's defend. Hold the line, keep the bond alive. Truth in our vision, in God we make decisions. For our dream, true, thrive and strive. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and prairie, with liberty. We'll keep fighting for what's right, standing strong in the night. Here comes freedom in the land of hope and bravery, with liberty.
Well, here comes Danny Yellow like Marilyn with a twist. She's got a master's degree and a style you can't resist. On Culturama, baby, we're shaking up the scene. So hit that like, make it click, you know what we mean. Like and subscribe, come on, don't delay. With Daniela at the helm, we're leading the way. It's Culturama, taking back tomorrow today.
You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors.
Mao ordered his citizens to throw off the four olds. Old thinking, old culture, old customs, and old habits. So, your whole life went in the garbage overnight, no biggie. And those who resisted were attacked by an army of purifiers called the Red Guard, who went around the country putting dunce caps on people. Yeah, who didn't take to being a new kind of mortal being.
If you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted.
Well, things haven't been so sweet for Ben and Jerry's after the company posted an anti-American tweet, a few of them, on the 4th of July. The ice cream makers declared the United States was founded on stolen indigenous land.
Well, someone should tell Target that, because they're now selling swimsuits with tuckums in the women's section of the store. And they even have a line just for kids.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Ben & Jerry's and ask them how they can live with themselves as they operate a multi-billion-dollar company on stolen land while declaring other people give up their so-called stolen land.
This is the child section. This is literally the kids section. I'm next to a literal onesie that says whatever the hell that means. We have glad you came out, and I'm so happy that you're queer. in the kids section. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, but pride and toddler don't belong in the same sentence.
Good news! Starbucks will offer its workers reimbursement of travel expenses related to accessing abortion and gender-affirming procedures.
Kyle Rittenhouse was seen wearing a Black Rifle Coffee Company shirt, and they wanted to distance themselves from that individual. Key employees at the company also were donating to Democrats. Hafer doubled down on throwing many in his base under the bus, describing them as racist and a repugnant group of people.
Hey, Liberty lovers, stop scrolling, because if you're tired of the same old news, then I've got just the wake-up call for you. I want to thank you for tuning in to Culturama, and I know that you're enjoying every minute of it. Join us at rumble.com/AP4Liberty. The Wake Up America show is Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. It's a great way to start your day. Coffee's optional, but waking up is mandatory. Remember, at Wake Up America, we'll keep you sharp, we'll keep you laughing, most of all, we'll keep you free. I'll see you in the morning.
Monster kill.
You guys paid for it. You got it. We have another video released here.
Run so fast.
With
your goofy little box. Always having a blast.
There he is,
when you
everybody. He is
dance
wearing
on your
wonderful
paws
country
like
girl
you're on a
outfit
spree.
here. Doing the American theme here
Chasing
today.
your
And he has
tail. Oh, what joy you bring me. My tiny fiery friend. You light up my day. In your 1950 style. Let's dance and play.
Thank you for joining us, Leo. There's the kiss on his cheek. And he haunts my dreams. Writes Fiery Waco. Oh, I have his fur on my lips here. Excuse me. Okay, you guys, I saw the donations. I'm going to read them out right now out loud for all of you. Leo, what did people send here for you to listen to or to read out loud with us? He can't read. I'll read for him. Okay, let's read out these donations. I hope I'm not missing any of them. No. Okay, we'll start with the $2 one. We have donation number 1.
Monster kill.
$2 from Barney Styles. You wrote "Let's do it," and then we have $1 from Monolith. Thank you so much, Monolith. You wrote, "I think James Lindsey is trying to expose the horseshoe effect in regards to Christian nationalism and their embrace of authoritarian economic statism." Beautifully said, Monolith. And you know what? I would agree to part of that. I would absolutely agree and say yes, he probably is. At least he was initially motivated to avoid the horseshoe effect, which I firmly believe does exist. And that's a very good assertion. However, seeing how it's playing out now, I think that it is having some unintended effects that is affecting parts of the right wing from growing and even getting even younger people to be involved in it. And I think that's unfortunate. That's an unfortunate circumstance of that. Also, he's just kind of being like an asshole about it and like using the woke right label. Sorry for the swearing. Like I said, I use foul language like a couple hours in. My apologies. I'm sorry. He's being a jerk. about the way he's using it. But thank you so much for the $1 donation, Monolith, and it's very good to see you in the stream again. Okay, we have $3 from Fire Waco Euro. I do everything in threes. Wonderful. And we have $5 from Row. Thank you so much for pulling through, Row House, and it's lovely as always to see you on stream. Thank you for joining Culturama stream today. Euro with some more bucks to spare for Leo. Was he a groomsman at the wedding? Leo, were you a groomsman at the wedding? Unfortunately, not this wedding. I was down south to get married. I got legally married down south, and Leo couldn't make it. But we will be doing another wedding it's just for a family up here, and Leo will attend that one. So we're going to recreate it for both sides of the family, and so Leo will you guys will probably see pictures of Leo in a suit again. I know, more bridal pictures. But unfortunately, he wasn't a groomsman or a bridesmaid at the one I had just now, the first wedding. But he probably will. Oh, look at all the emoticons you guys are using of Leo. Look at that. Bow wow, yippee yo, yippee yeah, lay oh, let's go, this mother effing house, writes Barney Styles. Leo's licking his nose, how cute. Oh, it's good to see you, Nelson65. Yes, Leo did join us today. My boy, he made it. Okay, and just in a timely manner, because I wanted to talk about a very fun topic with you guys. This is fun is not the correct term. A very interesting topic. Leo is going to read about the Karmelo Anthony case with us. But Leo, before I do that, what do you think of the Afrikaner situation and the South African refugees that are coming in the U.S.? Do you think they deserve to be here? Do you think we should not accept their status here in the United States? What is your opinion of that, Leo? Share your opinion. Unfortunately, Leo said that we should not be accepting any refugees, if you guys didn't understand that. But at least he's consistent. Leo, aren't you right? Aren't you consistent with your status or your opinion on refugees? He has crusty eyes. Okay. Everyone, let's read together the Karmelo Anthony situation. There is some more highlights following from the case, so I did want to touch on that. And then we probably will wrap up this stream, but it's been a really good one so far. Leo could not make the wedding. Yeah, Row House, unfortunately, Leo could not make the wedding. He is really bad at traveling, so flying with him would be a big hassle. But he was there in spirit, and that's what matters. So I thought he was white-furred. Quest Fanning writes, he is, superficially white, but at the end of the day, he is a Latino. Aren't you, boy? Not a Snoop Dogg fan is Young Pensack. I have never listened to a single Snoop Dogg song in full, actually. So, okay, let me pull up this story. Okay, you guys, Leo, and feel free to share your opinion, interject at any moment. Leo, the audience loves to hear from you, and if you have any strong opinions whatsoever, just feel free to share. Just tap me on the lap here, and I will be sure to bring you over to the mic. Okay. Okay. Austin Metcalf's family, you guys. Austin Metcalf's family won't get to see him graduate because Karmelo Anthony decided to stab him in the heart. Today, the Metcalfs learned that their son's killer, out on bail, will be allowed to graduate. The family is going through hell. Anthony's supporters have raised over $500,000 for the killer to date. So, Karmelo Anthony is set to graduate his high school. No issue there. Last month, Karmelo Anthony stabbed a fellow student in the heart, killing him instantly. This month, he'll be graduating from his high school. Austin Metcalf's family won't be able to see their son graduate, but they'll have to watch his killer get his diploma. So the reason why I bring this up is, once again, the hypocrisy that the people in our country are facing, to the point where it's getting actually very concerning, and it is important to mention this. I didn't want to bring this case up again because it is a sad one, but this is very pertinent because I really wanted to bring in the point that tensions are rising high in this country, and we need to stop turning a blind eye to these tensions and what white Americans are going to be facing in the next few years. Case in point, Jaden McNeil wrote this. He quote tweeted what I just read, and he said, "I was expelled from Kansas State and unable to graduate for saying white lives matter. Karmelo Anthony murdered Austin and will still get a diploma and a $500,000 reward." Okay? So, here is a tweet, him referencing this. Further detail. "I was kicked out of Kansas State for protesting anti-white hatred on campus. Apparently saying, quote, white lives matter, unquote, was disruptive to the learning environment. But BLM could barge into class and scream without repercussions. Nobody defended me because the media called me racist." And he has a picture here of the letter. I'm not reading that, but you guys have it. So this person, Jaden never killed anyone. In fact, he really didn't do much. All he said was white lives matter, and that was disruptive. Karmelo Anthony can waltz in, kill someone. He's getting $500,000, and he's graduating. And they sell T-shirts of him. So, and he's regarded as a hero by some individuals within the black community or outside the black community, by leftists. And that's the reality we're living in here. And I don't think I have to explain why I feel like I'm living in the twilight zone. So, but that I think is still very pertinent to understand and to see the reality of the state we're living in, okay? And I really want to bring this home for you guys and really illustrate the picture here. This is happening. And on top of that, we're getting 49 individuals from South Africa who happen to be white. And the international community even doesn't want to view them as victims. We have figureheads on national television say that only a few of these individuals are slaughtered for the color of their skin. And we should turn a blind eye to that. Not a genocide happening. And that's supposed to be okay. And we're not supposed to question that or to be, deeply hurt and reactionary to that. We're just supposed to close our mouths and take it. And as far as this situation is concerned, with Karmelo Anthony being able to graduate, get $500,000, have T-shirts made of him, be regarded as a hero in various communities, we're also supposed to shut up and just take that. Oh, and also, there are swaths of blacks on TikTok making reels of themselves saying they want to kill white people. And you can look this up for yourself. And we're supposed to just think that's okay and normal. That's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that we have to come to this point, everybody. But this is where we are at right now. And it's important to mention that. Right, Leo? Okay, last story. I wanted to end on this. We're going to end on a little bit of a lighter note. This was just shared to me to talk about. So George Clooney turned on Biden because Biden didn't recognize him, despite being a famous person who's doing a fundraiser for you. You know, George, the assisting aide told the president, gently reminding him of who was in front of him. Yeah, the president said to one of the most recognizable men in the world, the host of this lucrative fundraiser. Thank you for being here. Hi, Mr. President, Clooney said. Hold on, I need a sound effect for this. How was your trip? Clooney asked. It was fine. said the president. It seemed that the president had not recognized Clooney. It was not okay, recalled a Hollywood VIP who had just witnessed this moment. That thing, the moment where you recognize someone you know, especially a famous person who's doing a fundraiser for you, it was delayed. It was uncomfortable. Oh yeah, Biden said, hi, George. Clooney was shaken to his core. The president hadn't recognized him. A man he had known for years. Clooney had expressed concern over Biden's health before. A White House aide had told him a few months before they were working on getting the president to take longer steps when he walked, but obviously the problem went far beyond his gait. This was much graver. Yep. So I thought that was a bit humorous there. But anyway, you guys, I think that unless you guys want me to talk about something else, I might just wrap this stream up here. Send, Nelson65 writes, send those who want to kill white people to South Africa and exchange them for the oppressed South African whites. Yeah, that would be nice. Barty Stiles wrote, my son did a dumb thing far less than killing someone. He did his time, buckled down, and graduated high school a year early. He still wasn't allowed to walk on graduation. Wow, Barney, I'm sorry to hear that. That's awful. That's ridiculous. And yet Karmelo Anthony is able to go through all of the rituals involved with graduation, and somehow we're supposed to be okay with that. And is getting paid for it. Look at Liz wrote, he is an Episcopalian. Yes, look at Liz. Leo is officially an Episcopalian. For those that don't know, a little bit of Leo lore. What's it called? It was the St. Francis of Assisi Day. He got blessed at an Episcopal church. And so he technically is Episcopalian right here. Leo, do you have any opinions on this awful story with Karmelo Anthony? Anything at all? It's funny, I hear him wheezing all throughout the time I'm reading articles, but the moment I bring him to the mic, he just shuts down. He gets shy. He gets camera shy. Got a clip from Julius Malama calling Boer crybabies. Check DM. Okay, JJ, we have time, so I'll check your DM here in a second. Let's see, what did you send to me? Genocide, South African EFF leader in South Africa. Quote, we have not called for the killing of whites for now. They want all the whites to flee. Let's listen.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we have not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies.
Wow.
Cry babies.
I'm not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now.
I can't give you a guarantee of the future, especially when things are going the way they are.
Subtext.
Especially if things are going the way they are, there will be a revolution in this country, I can tell you now. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying
at least for now, guys.
For the killing.
Guys, what is going on? We're supposed to ignore this in this country? Are leftists serious right now? At least for now, writes Mr. Pig. Yeah, exactly. At least for now, crybabies. They're slaughtering these people in front of their families on their own property. No, Quest Fanning. Leo wouldn't say that. Leo is posing for all of his adoring fans. I just realized, you guys, I forgot to put on the live chat for this stream. I'm so sorry. That sucks. I like to have the live chat on. Darn. I'll have it on next time on Thursday. You guys better show up on Thursday. We also have an interview guest, and we're going to be talking about a lot more, so... Yes, Leo was posing for all of his adoring fans. Thank you for sharing, JJ. You have actually managed to share the most concerning parts of this entire story with that first document that you sent, and now this video. It's very disturbing, the coldness that these people have for this entire situation. All right, you guys. I want to thank you guys that, wow. As soon as I open my feed, I have disturbing material on my feed. Richard Hanani just tweeted, so I'm getting quite nauseous. I should probably leave. Anyway, you guys, let me do an outro, and we can wrap it up here, shall we? Leo, quiet. There's people watching. Don't embarrass me. Okay.
In the heart they gather strong, pushing back the land.
Everyone, I want to thank you so much for joining the Culturama stream today, especially since I was gone for so long. But thank you for taking a part of the conversation, being a part of the zeitgeist, and participating in today's stream. Thank you for donating to the Leo Goal, and be sure to join the AP for Liberty shop and to perhaps get more of our products. We also have a donation from Row House. Hold on a second. Row House, I need to do the due diligence to answer your question. Row House asked, Daniela, would you ever be on the show Jubilee? Row House, yes. I was going to apply for Jubilee actually last month, but it was happening. The episode I wanted to apply for was happening the same day that I was flying out and getting married, so I couldn't do that. But now that I'm back, obviously I'm going to apply. So actually, Row House, you beat me to it. I do want to go in Jubilee very, very badly, and I will be applying. So wish me luck. They'll accept me, and hopefully they will. But anyways, thank you for the donation, Row House, and yes, I would love to be in Jubilee. I don't know how they judge on who they accept or not. I'm assuming you have to have somewhat of an online presence. I hope my presence is large enough for me to go on, but I will be applying. They have another episode next month. So for the circle, I forgot what it's called, the flag, the one where they have the flags. So I'm going to apply for that. Okay, back to the outro. Okay, everyone, I want to thank you all for joining, and I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your evening. Be sure to join on Thursday for the next Culturama stream. We will be having an interview and covering the most pertinent news and political topics and cultural topics that we always do. So let's all participate in the zeitgeist, beat postmodernism, attack communism, and of course, taking back tomorrow, today. Thank you for joining, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. God bless and good night. And Leo says good night as well, everyone. Have a lovely rest of your day.
We've got the power now. The Reds are going down. With a flagpole planted firm, golden dreams that won't decay, marching proudly through the day. In the eagle's shadow wide, we find our strength and take our pride. Let the voices echo loud, tearing through the waiting crowd. We've got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now, the Reds are going down. Across the plains and mountains tall, hear the victory call. With courage and with might we strive in the light of freedom's sky. We got the power now, in the heart of every town. We've got the power now.